All right, so what we're going to go over is the beginner cheat sheet. It's remodeled, it's redone in the aspects of I want to put as many things in the Freedom Mastery experience into one place so you can now just look at one thing when something starts to rock your boat, when your nervous system starts to heighten and you want to get back into that focus, you want to get back into your body. This is what you have to do. Now, a key thing that you have to remember is this is also linked up with all the programs. So if you're in a program, go into the app, go into the program itself, look up a word, and you might be able to find the correlating video that goes with this. Because this has many moving parts to it, and it's set up in 3 different phases. Number 1 phase, which is the awareness phase. It's based off of the 3 Ps. You have to pull back, you have to pause, you have to pull back, and you have to do a physical scan. This now links up with other things that happen later on, but this, as a foundation, will start to change your life. So, what is pause? Pause is now stopping, identifying the extra stressors, whether it be positive, negative stresses, all the mental things that's happening, emotional, physical. Then you want to, once you acknowledge that and you become aware of that, you want to pull back. And you want to take a breath. You want to now take that time to get your nervous system to actually calm down. Before you do any other activities, you want to do things like breathing techniques, where this is where the B score comes in, crocodile breath, 4, 7, 8, doing something that's going to now get your nervous system to drop back down, as well as tell you how your body is doing. The point is, you have to get back in your body. So then when you get back into your body, you can do a physical scan. This is where you do the body scan. This is where you're now starting to become more aware of the activities that you're doing while you're doing things. And the things that you want to start asking yourself is, what has changed? What is your body telling you? And what did you just think? All the things that need to happen. You want to start monitoring what's happening in your mind. Now this last body scan jumps into a deeper portion of the Freedom Mastery experience when you start looking at your body's actually telling you things. So if you're eating, for instance, and your stomach starts to clamp shut and get tight, your body doesn't want that food. But we haul down food so fast that we never ever listen to our bodies. Or we'll walk into a room and we feel our body compress. We know something's happening. We have to do a speech or something. We get the butterflies in your stomach. Another good example. All these things are your body telling you something. So you just now need to learn how to listen to them in that way. So phase 1 happens consistently throughout the day. I need you to really listen to me on this. It's not about when something wrong happens. It's happening all the time. The more you can tap into phase 1 as a normal everyday thing, you'll start recognizing when you feel good as well as when you feel bad. And then when you get into the bad place, you do this and it starts to bring your nervous system down. Then you go to stage 2. What stage 2 is all about is starting to get you to implement, starting you to take action on the things that you need to do, which at the first foundation is your mental. So you have to remember this whole organism, we break it down into 3 massive areas: your emotional, your mental, and your physical. Your physical is your loudest talker, but it doesn't make a big bang for your buck for solving for the root problem. That happens on the emotional, mental side. So if you now started off at number 1, you have to realize you have lost safety. Something happened for your nervous system to rise up. So I want you to start learning how to ask yourself a question. Do you feel safe? Do you feel connected, or are you connected with whatever you're doing? And are you fulfilled? Those 3 questions will start telling you if you are safe or not, if you feel safe or not. And then you want to start looking at the love component. Are you doing things with love? Are you receiving love? What is the love meter going on here? Are you just phoning these things in, yada, yada, yada? Somebody comes in, talks something, and your body instantly gets triggered in that way. And then are you trusting of the world, the place that you're in, the thing that you're doing, whatever the case may be? Now, the thing with trust, especially with another person, trust is not something that's just here. It's something that's earned with time and experience of you feeling safe. That is a key component for you to understand. That trust happens with time and experience of you feeling safe and loved. All 3 of those things need to be happening for your emotional system just to be relaxed and calm. Once that emotional pillar starts to fall apart, that's when you start to get mental drain and you start to lose clarity, you start to lose focus, and you really start to lose drive if done long enough. And those things happen, then your body starts speaking very, very loudly. Now, it doesn't matter if one or two areas, the more weight load, which means one of those pillars going down, the physical body's on, it's going to start compensating based off the nervous system. And you'll see things in your feet, in your hips, in your shoulders. So what's going to happen is you'll start feeling ungrounded. You might start losing your balance a little bit more. Your feet don't grab as much. The big thing here is you probably won't even feel the floor underneath your feet because you're not connected to it. And then your hips and your shoulders will start to clam shut, and it's going to start shrinking on itself because that's the model of what the body does. It wants to protect you in that way. So in two ways. One, if you now make it through phase one and like, all right, I want to go do something. If you can start to clean up your emotional into your mental, into your physical, that's easy. But if you only have a moment, all you have to do is shift one of these pillars. Do something in your feet, something in your hips, something in the shoulder girdles. That's why I tell people to do the morning routine in the morning and at night. Do them as often as possible because the morning routine does something for your hips, your feet, your hips, and your shoulders. It gets all that to dial in. And how do you know this works? Is because you're going to do number 5. Once you do one of those, every time I tell you to do something self-care, mental, emotional, and physical, I always ask you, get up and tell me what's different. You'll notice something in your movement patterns. You'll notice how you move, how your body sinks on itself. You'll notice a foundational change inside yourself. Don't fall into the trap of saying, I don't know. Don't fall in the trap of saying, it's a little bit. You want to see the work that you're putting in, whether it be 1 minute or 5 minutes. You want to see that time work for you. So look at your new movement patterns. Look at the way that you're perceiving the world, how you see the world. Sometimes you'll even see the world more vibrant because your perception will change once you change emotionally as well as mentally. Things change. You just have to now acknowledge them because you start to see things differently, which then brings us to number 6. On the implementation phase, you want to now start acknowledging your effort. And this is where the reflections come in. This is where the looking at a journal, looking at your wins. And we're not talking about these massive goals. We're talking about the little things that you do that's now challenge you to move forward. So working out every day, and then you try something harder in that workout. That's a win, right? Don't fall shy of just saying, I woke up today. I'm grateful for my kids. Those are important, but we're now talking about you making a trusting, loving connection with yourself. And that's based off of not challenging yourself till you fall apart, is challenging yourself and finding out that you're winning. Which then you go back into your community, the people that you now have like-minded love for each other, and you share those things and you have conversations, and we're a community-based type of people, organism. We have to lean in there. And as high performers, we have a tendency to always want to do it ourselves. Which then brings us to number 3 of number 6, is you have to start admiring the things that you couldn't do in the past that you're doing now. So the saying that I tell a lot of my clients is, once was impossible, now is simple. Once was impossible, now is simple, as easy as this. You thought it was impossible to walk. So you thought it was impossible to ride a bike, to swim, to do all these different things. And now you don't even think about it. You just go do it because you worked at it. You practiced. Look at those things, not just those 3, but all the things that you were doing 4 years ago. Maybe you're starting public speaking more. Maybe you're having a different type of conversation with your spouse. Maybe you're doing things with your employees, with yourself even. Way different, the type of conversations. Look at those things consistently. Phase 1, all about awareness. Awareness gets you everything. You get that awareness. Phase 2, you start implementing and start stacking your foundations and start acknowledging what those foundations are doing. Stage 3, phase 3 is all about expansion and connection. So what that's all about is getting you to recognize you have to expand on the foundation that you have. So many people forget about getting their hips, their feet in line, and they start doing all these other workouts. But then they fall apart and they don't know why. It's because their foundation can't uphold the new amount of leverage that they have. So you have to double back and strengthen your foundations. So look at your movements. Add more of those basic movements into your everyday life. Tackle deeper emotions that trigger you without fear. Don't do it because your back is against the wall. It's like, I really do struggle with XYZ. Talk to my wife about finances. Talk about my wife about intimate time. Talk about my wife about anything, about our kids. Those things normally end up in a fight. Now you will create boundaries, make a structure, and you'll go at it without fear. And you will start to challenge those things in a safe environment, because now you're focusing on, are you being safe? You want to strengthen those mental boundaries. Be able to say things confidently, especially no. You want to recognize when you're playing small. Now, we're not talking about these massive goals. We're talking about what's happening inside you. Are you uber excited? Is the things that you're saying yes to a hell yes? And are the things that you're saying no to a hell no? Like, are you leveling up, playing small? Keep on focusing on those things. Then, number 8, you want to start developing trust in your future self. This is where the mind movie comes in. This is where you start to visualize things. This is where you start to really lean into your confidence. And now I'm going to be talking to you about confidence. It's a spectrum that you want to look for. You want to start living in the doing world, I can world, and I will world, not the I can'ts, right? You want to start figuring out how to do more things by visualization, by looking at the things that you really want, which then brings us into 9. How do you get those answers? These times I'm telling you, you need the quiet space. You need to get in the silence. You need to feel stuff. At first, you start with, I need to quiet my mind. I need to go into my meditations with quieting my mind. I want you now, at this point, because we've been practicing at this point, I want you to go in there and think about, what are the things that you want to wonder about? Actually sitting with the fact that your mind can be noisy and staying there and exploring what that noise would look like. And eventually it'll go away, and then you'll start getting answers. You'll start asking stuff like, what does my higher self need to know today? Wants me to know today? Why am I acting the way I'm doing? And this is where the inner child work comes in. These 3 phases are critical for you to stay on top of your game. You needing to be aware of what's happening. You understanding that you're taking action and doing an implementation phase where you're balancing your emotions. You're aware of your emotions. You're balancing your emotions based off of safety, love, and trust. Your mental's online. So you're dialing in your physical body with ease and notice. And then you're noticing the changes that you're doing. Nobody can't take that away from you. You're doing something and you're noticing the change. If you don't see a change, that means your body didn't receive it. You take action on that. Then you start leaning more basics, leaning on the basics, and then stacking on the basics, using your future self, trusting your future self, and then asking things about your future self. So now on the lower part of this program here, this cheat sheet, is I tell you how to figure out what's happening inside your body. Now, the biggest mistake that I hear people make all the time is they say, I'm in pain all the time, when it's not really pain. Now, your body will lock up in pain if you say it's in pain. But if you have soreness, it does something completely different. So what I want you to start doing is start categorizing your body sensations into pain, soreness, tightness, even movement confidence, and a powerful and mind-body connection. These phases are something that I want you to start really looking at. And it's just 1 through 10, leveling off between 1 through 10. But going up the chain, pain, soreness, and tightness, 10 is the worst that you can be. But when you get to movement confidence, 0 through 10 changes slightly, and that's when we'll talk a little bit, but you'll notice the same thing. The better you feel, that's when 10 it just flips. The cycle flips at that point, because this is the neutral phase, yada, yada, yada. So I want you to now start looking at your body and saying, is this pain? Is this soreness? Is this tightness? And then give it a number from 0 to 10, 10 being the worst. These are a bunch of sensations that you now can walk through and say, oh, this is what it feels like after I foam roll. My body feels like it's melted. It's juicy. It feels like it's running. It's flowing. And then there's also disconnected. I feel like I want to escape. I feel like I'm floating. Not always a good thing. Right? These things are going to be important for you to start learning to listen to your body, learning how to stay in your body. Once you start getting into this cheat sheet, things become simpler. You'll start to understand that you have to check out a little bit, and not check out in a wrong way. It's almost like I have to pull back and see, what is my body telling me? So you might have to step away from people. But this only happens in the awareness phase, when you start becoming aware of what you're doing and how that's hurting your body. I need you to really hit me up. Look inside the app, look inside your program, see what you have access to. Start typing in words like body scan and seeing if it's in there. It depends on what level of the program that you have. But all these things are available for you to get better. Just this alone, with none of the back end stuff, will change your life if you allow it, if you take action on it. If you have any questions, hit me up. I'm here for you. Good work.